I'm recording.
Can you guys see?
Not yet. Coming. Okay.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, so this is part two. This is part two of the radio show pitch. So far, we've already had an idea. We've discussed ideas for production meeting 4 about some of the things we're going to include. So this is going to be our introduction. We're going to show that we're going to say this is our radio show pitch, and then we're going to mention our names and tell the audience who's here.
Yeah.
And then this is the first slide which Toiba's going to cover. So Toiba, do you want to tell us?
So we decided that the show name will be Spill the Tea, since we didn't have one yet, and I just went to the questionnaire and just chose a name that stood out the most.
So was that a
And
common answer?
Yeah, it was a common
Okay.
answer. So, and then the presenters obviously are me and Luke, and then the style that we're gonna have is a zoo format, which is basically conversational. It's informal. There is no script or anything. Well, there is gonna be one, but it's gonna be more just us talking about stuff, like going with the flow. And then the remit is just gonna be us having like social awareness about sexual health and mental health. And then if we don't have the meeting or anything, the interview, if we can't have the interview, then we'll just
Yeah,
have an advert at the headline.
Yeah, because the sexual health from the safeguarding member hasn't been confirmed, so we will need to confirm that. But it's most likely going to be a yes, anyways. But we've got alternative for that, right? So the alternative would be to include an advert, right? Yep. Okay.
And we might also include an advert about mental health before actually having a conversation about it. So like, and we're gonna talk about this topic like near the end, since obviously it's kind of like a deep topic, I guess, and we don't want to start off with that.
And also, sorry, Toy, but the remit is quite important because this is something we need to focus on, because it's one of the outlines that were highlighted when we had to focus on our target audience. So that's something we need to take that in mind.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So we're also having the sports interview with one of our classmates, and I don't know if we're gonna have him act as like a coach for like a fitness thing that he can recommend to viewers to like do at home, like workout routines or something. Are we gonna have him fake being a coach, or is he just gonna talk like what he does as a student? And then COVID impacts on students, exams, stuff that our target audience would be interested in. And then we're gonna have a lot of the recommendations on the questionnaire were like talking about games, mental health, and music. So that'll be more of our focus. We're gonna talk about games that we played and our opinions, PC versus console, and recommend games for listeners so that they can try it out. And then the mental health, how to feel better through music, and our personal experiences maybe, so that we can have like a connection with the listeners and then they can relate to us or something.
So is that what you're gonna? And then tomorrow you're gonna be talking about, once you have more ideas about the target audience, right?
We're gonna. I'll finish this.
And you're gonna include that underneath.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So because Toba did the first 4, and then that's when I'm gonna start talking in my pitch. So because it's a 30-minute show, I've decided the running order would be the intro and the idents. So we're going to be talking about that, and then later on we'll get into details, and then that's when the presenters will start getting more conversational and more confident. So they would have before the presenters are introduced, we're going to have the news, sport news, and the weekly corona stats that are in Luton, because that's like focusing on our target audience, and that would basically be based on hopefully 2 minutes. Then the audience would just have introduce them. The presenters would introduce themselves, ask each other how they are, just be a bit more fluent and get to know them. And then we would talk about then on the show we talk about the corona impact on students and how it affects them being in school and stuff like that. So that would be basically 3 minutes to get all that content in, and that's quite tight, I think, but it's something that we have to do and make sure it's done. We'll probably practice that. And then we have like question of the day and how to answer using Twitter. That would be basically 1 minute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like we're gonna have to fake the responses
yeah,
and
using
stuff.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is when our break comes in. So with our break, we're gonna have music that's played within 3 minutes. That's something Luke will provide, that Luke has provided in the next slide. Some things that we're gonna include, but with music, we're gonna mostly focus on mental health because we spoke about that. And then when we're back from the show, straight away we're gonna get into the answers, quickly give the answers, read it out, and yeah, let the audience know because that's something the audience would stay for. And if you just keep going on and on, they're just going to get bored and go. And then guys, the question of the day, what type of questions do you think we should include, by the way?
I don't know, something that would be interesting. I don't know. What are people interested in nowadays? Our age.
Maybe you
Because
could ask about celebrities or
yeah, I guess.
yeah, maybe that's something we need to discuss as well.
Mm.
Okay. And then so then we after we read out the questions, we're gonna have a conversation about sports, and then that's when Amari will call into the show. He'd give us an interview. We'd ask him questions about how he keeps fit, what type of things because he's into sports a lot. So we'll ask him, what type of sports do you think people should do on a day-to-day activity to keep up their fitness, because gyms are closed? What type of fitness is good for health? That all has to be in probably 5 minutes, but no longer than that, or probably less, because obviously it's a 30-minute show, so we need to bear that in mind. Okay, and then we'll have another music as a break, and then that's going to be like a 3-minute break. And then after we come back, there'll be an advert about mental health, and that'll be shown within 1 minute, and that's something we need to include in our pitch as well. And that's where we're going to get the advert from, guys.
Luke, I think you should find an advert. I think it'd
Yeah.
just be a helpline, maybe like a suicide helpline.
Oh yeah, because then that'd be good, and then we could talk about conversation about mental health, and maybe that's something like people going through abuse because they're at home. So that'd be basically within 3 minutes, and that's research that I've probably already done. Um, and then that's when probably when a safeguarding member calls in to interview, and she gives us like, we ask questions like what are they doing to help students get the correct information. Maybe if they don't want to speak out, what type of stuff they're doing to provide. Is there any events going on, any charities, maybe stuff like that? Get this side. And then music again, but this music, I think, within 3 minutes, but it's probably going to be less because bearing in mind we've only got 30 minutes. And then towards the end, we're going to have a conversation about video games. Um, video games, that's 5 minutes. And then the conclusions, we will remind the audience of the radio schedule that's going on. And by this, I've judged that we've got 33 minutes. But however, because it's 33 minutes, some of the interviews might be short, and therefore, like, we might be able to get less than 30 minutes or 30 minutes on the dot as we hope. So that's what I'm going to be presenting in my pitch, but a bit more detail. And then Luke.
Sorry. For the guests, our show is gonna have 2 guests. I think if they can make it, one of them will be Amari, who will be talking about fitness. Another member, the other guest would be a member of the safeguarding, to see if they can come on and talk about mental health. But we still need to find out if that's possible. Amari is a classmate who will probably be phoning in to tell us all about fitness and how fitness can help with mental health and staying healthy, and why it's important to stay healthy and stuff like that. The member of safeguarding would be phoning in if we can possibly do it, to talk about was it health?
Sexual health.
Yeah, sexual health is what they're talking about. We also have I found some noises we could use for
Sound effects, you mean?
sound effects. Sorry, yeah, some sound effects I found we can use in our show from YouTube.
That's something you're gonna play right during the pitch.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, we'll play them during the pitch. Our show will be engaging and have informal presenters, because we want to relate to the younger audience, I guess.
Yeah, target audience.
Yeah, target audience.
So, yeah, we're also going to have some games on our show to keep the audience interacted, so to keep them interested and still make them wanna stay in thing with presenters. Sorry, and we'll also have some music will be played.
Yeah. Luke, you know the guests, they're gonna be phoning in. They can't be on our show.
Yeah, that's what I put.
Yeah, so they're gonna be phoning in. So when they phone in, whose phone do you think we should be using for? We need to provide numbers. Do you think my phone? Who has good speaker?
Can't really
I
guess.
don't know. We can think about this later, to be honest.
You can
we
use my phone. I mean, I could have my phone.
Yeah.
You know my number. That's something we need. So when we have confirmation from Amari and the member of the safeguarding teams, this is like questions that we need to provide for them and give the questions out. So maybe
we already have
to make a list of the questions.
Yeah, we already had the questions for both of them. Luke did for the Amari and I did for the safeguarding.
Yeah. So we need to give information out. So we need to give them a list of the questions, and we need to give a phone number out as well.
Yeah,
so
for Amari we have to, since he already confirmed that he's going to do the interview. But
okay, so we need to send out the questions, so don't forget, and the phone number. And the member of safeguarding teams, we tell them when to call, what phone number, and the type of questions. Is that all right? Okay. So that's all. This is all that we so far have of our radio show pitch, and we put them together, our ideas together.
Yeah, so, the rest we're gonna do tomorrow with the bus.
The audience and the target audience, because this is something like we don't know. I'm gonna get more information about tomorrow.
Yeah, we might let's set ourselves targets to complete for the rest of the day. So like any information that we can add into the slides. So basically, Luke can add more information for the mood board thing.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, and find out maybe an advert or a helpline, like you said.
So Luke, do you want to say what you're gonna do for the?
Yeah, I was gonna add more to the board to find out what songs we're gonna actually use, because I think we're gonna have one song from each of us. And
you can find an advert for the mental health thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll be your homework then, I guess, and then Sabea.
Once I get more information about Idents, I'm gonna add that in, go over it, maybe try and trim some things down.
Yeah, you can also get the interview, call up the person as well.
Yeah, because that's something I need to do tomorrow as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna have to talk a bit more about. I guess I'll look back onto my question analysis thing, and then go back over the answers and see what kind of how we can talk about these topics without getting too boring, because there's a lot of conversations and not. I don't know if we're gonna have games like we had on Luke's slide, because there's a lot of conversations and we might not have time for it. So I'm guessing the game is also fake because it's literally just the question of the day, and
Yeah.
we're
I
not
mean,
gonna
we
have.
don't want it. We want it in order. Like we don't want it. We don't want it to be a bit messy. We don't want it to get messy.
Yeah, once we present this, then maybe once we get feedback, we might have to get rid of some of these stuffs. Like,
Yeah. So
it
maybe
might be a bit
send
too
this.
much
Yeah.
conversation.
So maybe send it to Sarah and get some feedback. Maybe that's what we're gonna discuss tomorrow.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's all we have so far, and hopefully tomorrow we get more feedback. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. So Luke, do you want to stop the meeting?
I'm stopping it now.